we meet with Cubicasa to discuss some of their new features and to ask them your questions to find out what they're really up to in the real estate photography industry. Today, on episode 15 of Real Estate Photography Unlocked.
I'm just trying to get mine, but these agents got me losing my mind. Whatever happened to the good times? Man, forget about it. It's showtime. Let me show you how to get some rest, how to make millions, how to be your best. This is shout out to the REPs, to the shooters, producers, and the newbies. Welcome to our podcast. I'm your rep MC. We're here every week talking real estate photography.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Real Estate Photography Unlocked. Today, not only do we have one representative from Cubicasa, but three here to present their new features and answer your questions themselves. Without further ado, please welcome Cubicasa. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Hey, Jonathan.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to have you here as well. Just so you know, guys, I want to say that I've spoken with lots of different people in the industry, whether they be large corporations or small individual influencers, and not many people are willing to show up on a podcast and be this transparent. So just the fact that not only they have one representative, but three here from several different places across the world should say something in and of itself. So congratulations, but also good for you guys on coming here and just talking with us. It means a whole lot to real estate photographers. So can you guys introduce yourselves and tell us who you are?
Sure. Should I start?
Yes, whoever would you like to start first?
Yeah, Arne Huttunen or Api, the Chief Product Officer here at Cubicasa. And I think in the end of the day, the responsibility I have is to make sure that the scanning works, you get floor plans, and the users are happy. But of course, you can go into great depth about this topic, like how the scanning works, how everything works behind the scenes, and what's the next product? Should we exit some product or whatever? So, but it's a team effort in the end. But
okay, and it sounds like you have a bit of an accent there. Are you a star from Vikings, or are you?
Yeah, I'm from Helsinki, Finland. So it's 9 p.m. here right now, but it's time to stay sharp.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in late with us. And just in case you guys didn't know, Cubicasa is based in Finland and built there, correctly? Okay. All right. So we have a real Finn here representing the country. All right. And who else do we have here today?
I'll go next. I'm Tammy Dwight. I'm the community manager and photographer in residence at Cubicasa. So I am a real estate photographer, getting ready to head out for a shoot a little later today after we record, which is fun. So I'm here for photographers. I'm kind of meddle in most of our departments. Always happy to help. If anyone has a question, I'm here for you. So that's me.
Yes, and several photographers that I spoke to knew Tammy and had great things to say about her. So you're doing a great job.
Oh,
and then the last but not least.
Yeah, perfect. And everybody knows that Tammy is our street cred. Like that's, we go out into the streets of real estate photography and we bring her, so we're okay. But I'm Aaron. I'm our director of sales here at Cubicasa. I'm not based in Finland, but when I do go to Finland, they treat me like I'm Finnish, even though I can't speak a lick of the language. So that's great. But I oversee all things kind of revenue, our photography partnerships, our sales team. And I come from a real estate photography background. I owned a local real estate photography company before I joined here, was a user of Cubicasa, fell in love with the product and team, and I found my way here as well. So excited to be here and chat today about kind of where we are, what we're excited about, and where we're headed alongside some of our greatest customers as photographers.
That is very interesting that two of the representatives here are either active or previous real estate photographers. That says a lot to me already. All right. Well, we have come here today to discuss a few things To give everyone an idea of what we're going to be covering today, we're going to start out with getting to know Cubicasa a little bit better and discussing, most importantly, some of the new features that they have. But also, we have several questions that I have collected from the community and the industry. And we're going to be asking them all about pricing. We're going to be asking them about data. We're going to be asking them about features, potential features we would like, and so forth. So lots of things to look forward to. Starting out, let's talk about some of the newest features and reviewing some of the features that you guys already have. If you guys aren't familiar with Cubicasa, listen up closely, because we're about to hear from Cubicasa themselves on how they got started, what their business is all about, the features they started with, and how they develop them over the years. And whoever wants to take that question can go right on ahead.
Okay, let's start from the newest addition, Cubicasa Tour. I think that's what we are most excited about right now. And of course, it's a product that sort of is a new step for us. Like, it's not the scan, it's not the floor plan anymore, but we bring in the photography into the product, photographers' photos into the product. And sort of the backstory for the product is, like, if you look at the interactive floor plan products, virtual tours, like, both of them have good points into them. But if you look at the interactive floor plan tools, I think most of them felt a little bit like outdated, a little bit clumsy, not working well on mobile, and 70% of the traffic on the real estate is on mobile. So that was like first thing that, okay, let's try to fix that. And then the other is, like, if you look at the 360 products, I think there is a common like agreement with photographers, especially, that the 360 doesn't come as striking as like real photography. So, okay, let's merge those two things. So we do a stellar interactive experience with the floor plan, and then at the same time, let's bring in the real estate photography that the photographers do the best. And, that's the Cubicasa Tour, basically.
Okay, great. And I've been trying this out myself. And one thing I do love, so in case you guys know, I have been delving into building software myself. I can appreciate how difficult it is to do this and make it easy to use for the end user. Okay. So it's hard to judge how to make it, and it is really hard to actually execute it. As an end user, if I'm going to be connecting my photos to the floor plan, that initially sounds like a nightmare to me, because that means I'm going to have alignment issues. I'm going to have to drag and drop things where the software makes mistakes. But I was pleasantly surprised with this software. It is a one-click upload, and then the software automatically aligns everything, and it is very good at doing it. So if you guys want to offer this new stuff, all you have to do is upload it via the upload button, and you just upload it in mass, not one at a time or anything like that. It automatically distributes them throughout the floor plan, and it gets it correct. You have the ability to edit it if you need. So far, I haven't had to do it. So well done. That's not easy. Thank you for making our lives easier. And I will be doing a full video, not only on the newest feature, but I will be doing a complete tour of Cubicasa. If you guys haven't heard of it before, you guys will get the gist of it. That'll be coming out next week or so. I'm not sure when you guys will launch it, but I'll get it to you guys later. Can you discuss a basic overview of all the other features Cubicasa does for people who aren't familiar with it? Do you guys offer 3D? You guys offer a little bit of advanced, a 2D and a 3D floor plan. There's basic offerings. There's more advanced offerings. Can you just kind of update us all as it is currently?
Yeah. So I think we have like three main categories: listing products, appraiser products, and then data reports. And the listing products basically include the listing floor plan, and there's two different variations: the light floor plan and the plus floor plan. The biggest difference is the fixed furniture. So you have like the fixed appliances, kitchen islands, etc. in the plus version, and the light version doesn't have those. There's measurements, areas, styling features on the plus. Then in addition to the 2D floor plan, the listing floor plan, there's the 3D floor plan, 3D video render, and now the new Cubicasa tour. So
Okay.
quite many listing products. So, and all of these can be created from the scan itself, from the 5-minute scan. So I think like that's the important thing. So already 4 things. Appraiser products, the GLA floor plan, it has the red and green colors to show like what are living areas, what is not non-living area, etc. GLA report with calculations, how the areas are calculated for the appraisal, and then snapshots, so you can take photos during the scan and then have those reported in a PDF report.
And how much extra equipment do we need to buy in order to get this to work?
None. It's working in your fan.
Okay. All right. So there you have it. Fantastic. And that's a good overview. Anything else you guys would like to discuss in regards to the features? Next, I would like to learn a little bit more about Cubicasa and how it came to be.
Well, let's quickly go back to the Cubicasa tour. You mentioned the accuracy and the placement of the photos. So our stats show that about 80% of the photos are being placed on average. So whatever you upload, we can match 80% of them. And then, of course, that will include exterior photos. So if there is no exterior data, we cannot match those. And I think about 10% of the photos typically are from the exterior.
Okay.
So, that's the current accuracy. But you need to keep in mind that we released the product in October. So it's still quite young and early. So we will get better and better at, the accuracy over time.
Understood. I only uploaded interiors and didn't have an issue. At least I didn't see anything.
Really?
So my personal experience, I like to do. One of the things I love to talk about is scientific research versus anecdotal experience. So I'm not sure what scientific research you guys involved there, but my anecdotal experience is that I didn't see any errors. And I will say that I don't go into every image and double check to make sure it's perfectly aligned. As an experienced real estate photographer, I'm sure many people will relate with this over 10 years. I've gotten to the point where I don't check every single image and every single thing because I find that a lot of real estate agents don't necessarily care too much either. So I find if a client complains, I'll look into it. But as far as I was concerned, I looked into it as much I think a client would, and you guys passed with flying colors. So, all right. Are we good to talk about Cubicasa, how it came to be, and where it is today?
Yeah, let's go. So,
all right. So, when did you guys get started? Why did you guys decide to build this? And how come this niche out of so much? I mean, you guys could have been the next Uber. You could have tried to, head to head with Zuckerberg, but instead, you're coming to help out us photographers. So what's up there?
So it all started in 2014.
Okay.
And we started in Finland. And the 2 original founders, Jarmo and Harri, was like thinking that, okay, we have these floor plans in Finland. Let's do those floor plans because the prices were quite high at the time. And we thought that, or they thought that, okay, let's create the software to automate that. And then, we joined into the team, got a small seed investment, and we started to work on a product that, okay, let's start to do floor plans. And then we suddenly were in a point that we had like a nice market share in Finland. But then, of course, you realize that, the total addressable market in Finland is not very big. It's like 5 million people. So, there's a limit. So we thought, as every naive entrepreneur would think, like, okay, let's go to US. One language, big market.
Right, exactly. Biggest conspiracy nation in the world. Right.
Yeah. And then it took quite a lot of time and travel and frustration to understand that the real estate market, and especially the floor plans, like they work different in the US. So what we did in Finland was that the agent takes a photo of an old floor plan. Like I have a folder back there in my closet that has a floor plan. You take
Right.
a photo of that, and then you redraw that floor plan. And that's essentially how this business works in the Nordics, in Australia, at least it did work. But in the US, like, it seems that no one has those floor plans.
So right, and just from a different perspective, having to change the idea of, oh, we'll just take a photo with a phone to we're going to take a 3D scan using built-in LiDAR information in a cell phone. That's a bit of a tectonic shift in regards to development.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
all good stories are like this.
right.
We can't remember who asked the question first, but someone from the team asked, like, okay, what if we do it from a video? Like, can a human do it from a video? That was the question.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a moment in a meeting, everybody laughs, and like, that's the most stupid idea I've ever heard.
Right.
And remind you, like, we didn't have LiDAR technology back then.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and all the AR kits and AR core, they were pretty new. But then we sort of tried it out, like, can a human do it? And it turns out that, and we were really desperate, of course, at that point, but it turns out that, a human can do it. So then the natural next question is, like, can a machine do it? And it turns out that a machine can do it, but really badly.
Yeah.
But that was the starting point. And then, of course, like, over time, given enough time and resources and thinking, you will make it. Well, it turned out that you can make it happen with, some kind of a cost.
Yeah, exactly. And let me ask you a question. This shift in development, did it cost you guys, was it free? Were you guys working with a lot of volunteers and everybody was just, donating their time? Or was this an incredible investment and risky investment where you guys had to take this on and you weren't even sure it was going to work? Because frankly, you guys are kind of pioneers in this type of technology. It's not like you were taking, okay, so I'm starting to speak like a technical developer here. If you guys aren't familiar with API, a lot of the, sorry, I'm going to sidetrack, just to educate the audience real quick. A lot of stuff that you guys see out right now that everyone's kind of doing a gold rush on now in our industry, and you guys may have had a funny feeling about some of this. Yeah. This includes several companies coming out with photo to video AI producers. A lot of these people are actually taking free open source code that is available to developers, white labeling it, repackaging it for very low to little no cost. A lot of times they're not changing the code at all, even though they are claiming that they are. And then they're offering it to you guys for a premium. So they're taking free technology that they didn't have to do anything to and charging you guys for it. Is this what you guys did, or are you guys actually pioneers? And because I don't know of another company that did this before you in this way.
So we looked at what's available in the market, and we sort of thought that, okay, maybe this technology could work. But it turned out that, like, there was nothing. And it just happens to be that in Oulu, it's a city in northern Finland, there's quite famous computer science department from, they got a lot of funding from Nokia back in the day. And, like, there's a good talented people, and they have a computer vision department that has done some really great work in that area of the science. And we found master students, PhD students that, okay, let's do projects. Let's see if this can work. And then eventually we ended up hiring these people. So that is, like, one part of the problem. Of course, there's the mobile application that collects the data for this process to work. But of course, there's like every company uses open source components. We use open source components. Then there's our own solutions. But creating floor plans from a scan is a massive undertaking.
Right.
So there's not like one solution that you need to get it right. It's like a process that you need to sort of develop to create it. And it is really, really messy and complex. But I think that's also the unique thing that, if you take on this kind of a big challenge and you aim to master it, that's how you can create like sustainable businesses and like, I think, interesting businesses as this one is.
Yeah, and I really agree. Just full transparency here, guys. They're not paying me for this podcast. I've been a user of Cubicasa for a long time. As you guys know, I speak out against bad actors and good actors. And I'm not very merciful on people who I suspect to have bad intentions. So if I sound like I'm like kind of favoring these guys, I do see what they have done and I appreciate what they have done. And also, it has made me tens of thousands of dollars using Cubicasa over the years. And in fact, it may be into the six figures. And when I look at my profit pie chart, okay, if I compare the amount of time per effort per dollar I make, the floor plans using Cubicasa is one of the lowest time and resource profit that I offer to my clients. It's just a fact. Now, I maybe make more money with photography and video. That's a lot of labor and time intensivity, right? So the fact that I can do a floor plan by taking out my cell phone, that's no investment into equipment again, in 5 minutes. I don't think I've ever had a floor plan that's taken longer than 5 minutes, even for large properties. And get paid $100, $150 for it. There's no better, revenue per time spent, because I don't even have to edit it either. I just upload it. So I have to look at that objectively, quantifying the data and admit it's a good product. Now, I also say that I really like the fact that you guys are based out of Finland. Adding a little bit of transparency here, I've developed, my scheduling software. I looked all over the world, interviewing over 300 different development teams and individuals, and I ended up hiring several people on my team, while most of us are, based, locally. Several of the team members I have found to be excellent are from Northern Europe, and I only assume it's because you guys have a history of excellent engineering with watches, overtime cars, and all sorts of engineering, because you guys spend so much time indoors in the darkness because you guys can't go out and play like the rest of the world. No, I mean, seriously, you guys make great cheese. You guys have built watches since the 1700s. The only reason I believe you guys learned to do this is because you guys are sitting in the dark with nothing else to do for like 6 months out of the year. So, and
you're about facts.
Right.
That's basically, that's how I tell people, because I am not the technical person here. So when everybody asks, I'm like, well, we put 9 guys in the sauna for 3 months and said go, and they came out with this. So that's how it goes.
And you're one of the first people I've ever met in my life who has paler skin than I do. So congratulations. All right. So, all right. That's just the facts. Okay. That's how you guys got started. You guys took real risk and you faced real issues and had to develop and invent new ways of doing things. Okay. So then you release your product into the market, into the United States. And you originally, now this is where my memory starts to get hazy. I'm not sure when I started using you guys. I imagine it was probably in 2016 or 2000. I haven't looked at my account. I have to go a long way back. Have you seen it, Tammy? Have you seen when my first upload was?
I did not look to see your first upload. I know you uploaded a few things just very recently, last couple days.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we use it every day. So if an agent orders a floor plan, we do it. So how did the market release here go? And one thing I want to talk about, because we're going to get into pricing questions, is how did you guys originally begin releasing it to? Did you focus on realtors? Did you focus on photographers? And what did you guys charge? How did you try to break into the market? And this may be more information for the sales team. I'm not sure.
So the app was released actually 6 years ago this day.
Okay. All right.
Our
Happy
day.
anniversary.
And we had cake today in the office, so big day. So when we got the app out, of course, like it was a bad experience, a lot of bugs. It wasn't working, but that's with every product. And we started to like spam it out to everywhere we could think of that was like even loosely related to doing floor plans. And I think every listener here knows how great the real estate photography groups are, and there's a few really, really good ones. It's like a real feeling of community, and you get good feedback. People help each other, and that's not most of the Facebook groups I belong to. So we made a post like, try it out. The first one is free, and give us feedback. And we did the same thing in every single channel that we could think of. And I've tried to like remember how it went, but it was really slow in the beginning. Like we didn't have any scans, and then we just looked at this. So the first scan was from Jordan Powers, I think from the US. So of course, like we had testers and friends who tried it out, but I think the first actual scan was from Jordan Powers.
And he sounds familiar to me. Can you remind me? Does he have a YouTube channel or? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And then we just like started to look at the data, and we saw that there's like a retention from real estate photographers that there's a product market fit. And I've said this like to other entrepreneurs that I think product market fit is the ninth miracle, because somehow it's so hard to crack. But then when you hit that moment, it's just like it's obvious that this is it. And that was the moment for us that, we see those users coming back, doing more scans. And then like the feedback was, the language in the feedback was really strong and emotional. And, oh my God, like this is the best thing ever. There's like a strong indication that, you sort of found your correct market fit. And I think it's been, just working on that since that day.
Okay, and I, just out of curiosity, while he was, I did a quick reference and looked into my Cubicasa account. I'm not sure if I had an account before this one, but on the one that I currently have, because I've changed emails over the years, my first upload was February 3rd, 2021, and I have over 70 pages of orders. It looks like there's at least 10, so 700 scans, something like that. That's quite a bit. So we've done it. We've done a lot. All right. Well, that's excellent. Sorry?
There was the question about the pricing. So the original price was $34.90.
Okay.
So just inch under $35. And I think it just was like we interviewed people what they are paying for floor plans. I think the market price of floor plans was like really high because they were done manually. Mm-hmm. So we thought of like something that is reasonable but still cheap enough that you would get someone to buy. Okay. And of course, like the level of automation and everything, like we didn't have any economies of scale, so you need to factor that into your finances. But that was the original price. And then we added the first one was the certified photographer program, where you would get the 30% discount. And that actually followed quite soon after the launch. It took a few months.
Okay.
There you go. And so then that price was about $24.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I remember, so I'm not sure what it ended up being in 2021, but I remember, and I think this is when I'm not, okay, so my memory is hazy, but when I started using it, it seems like $20, $25 was the price. And then there was a period where you guys started offering it for free. How come you guys did that? And can we talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So, of course, like Cubicasa is a growth company and works like with every growth company. And you want to look for those things that gets you market share. And we got together in US with the team, and then we just used a week to sort of think that, okay, how can we accelerate this? Like we were like, the volume was growing, but it wasn't like exponential growth. And the only conclusion that we came into was like, okay, let's take the insane risk and see if we can make this free product work. And turns out that that was an important moment for us. And that was in 2022.
And this is where my memory becomes very clear, because I think I was born with an overgrown conscience. And anytime someone tries to offer me something for free, I get very suspicious, right? And I was already a customer of yours, I believe, when you guys started offering free stuff. So I'm like, well, that's great, because my monthly cost of doing business just went down. But where is it going to come out? Because nothing is ever for free. And I'm one of those people who just says, hey, like when the government shows up and says, hey, I'm here to help, watch out, right? Because they're about to raise your property taxes or, take away your kid or something else like that, right? So I was, first of all, I locked my pets in the closet to make sure Cubicasa wasn't coming to get them. Yeah. And then I waited for there to be some catch. But months passed, and I think over a year, I was just taking Cubicasa floor plans as I originally had been for free and taking 100% profits. So thank you. I appreciate that.
It's a great sales pitch, isn't it?
Yeah. But I also noticed an odd thing, and I'm not sure when this happened or not. I'm not sure if this was just I don't have 100% 360 degree view of the entire market or how I was reacting. And I'm not in all the Facebook groups, but in some of the Facebook groups I had, it seemed like, okay, so this is just an observation I make. I noticed that photographers, and I will try to explain our perspective as best I can, okay? We are a bit of a paranoid group. And the reason why that is because we will do business all day, every day, with real estate agents who have a very bad habit of not paying us and taking advantage of us. Or whether they mean to or whether they not, they forget to pay, they never intended to pay, they're too busy to pay, which is one of the reasons why pay-to-download systems are so important. But anytime we have someone who says, hey, we're really just trying to offer you something for free, no strings attached, we don't believe you. Okay. So forgive us. But anyway, when you guys were doing some of these generous offerings, it seemed like to me I saw a lot of unfair criticism. And then I've also noticed when the mob starts to go in a single direction, everybody else follows. So there was a period of time, it seems like you guys have gotten out of it, but I do want to discuss, where you guys were receiving unfair criticism, and it still seems to be around a little bit today, but much less. Yeah. Is that my imagination, or did it actually happen, and how did it happen, do you guys think? Did you guys do something bad? Did you guys do a business deal with Diddy, or like what went on there?
No deals with Diddy. And I can jump in on this because I actually, at my previous company, we were in negotiations of coming on as one of their initial customers to do a floor plan on every listing.
Right.
In the process of where I was like thinking about joining Cubicasa, it was all fine and worked out. But the free change happened, and I had a meeting with the team, and I was on the other side of the table at that point, asked like, well, why would you do this? And from my perspective, floor plans had always been a giant pain before Cubicasa, laser measuring or some sort of like pointing in the corner and trying to draw a line. And so why are you trying to give me this for free when it's been a high margin add-on? Like, I don't really get this. But when after talking to the team and some of the more senior folks there, like Api or Jeff, our president, and learning about, the whole thing is their goal from the beginning was to get a floor plan on every single listing. And the only way to drive and change adoption in a mass way is to do something kind of insane. And so changing it from being this high dollar add-on where maybe 10, 12% of all US real estate photography orders have it on, how can we take the market by storm, but then also still make money with other add-ons, other fees, other attachment rate type products to keep us afloat? Because at the end of the day, we can't just lose millions of dollars every year and hope that it works. So I think when I then crossed over the line and joined Cubicasa, what I saw was the add-on rates were pretty healthy for other products. And then the product roadmap of which we were launching, which we see live today, of the different reports, plus the tour, the 3D packages, we're starting to show, okay, all right, there's a real path here where enough people are going to, yes, do free, but also, kind of find themselves down the line on the funnel of paid products. But also, the expectation was we've got to go out and gain major adoption within the local photographers to do this on every single listing. But we know asking them to do that is going to be tough if it's $25 a shot,
Right. Okay. So, where did the negativity come then? If you guys were doing this for free, like,
I think the last,
was it just suspicion? Yeah.
I think the last round of negative feedback came last fall when we introduced the large order processing fees or the increases to the large order processing fees. And actually we added those before that, and also that had like negative response. But I don't know, like if you run a growth company that 10x's their volume in 24 months, in that journey you will learn quite many things from your business that you didn't know about and the cost structures. So of course,
Yes.
you need to look the business and the financials and make a conclusion that, okay, where can we try to balance this out? Just like Aaron said, like in the end of the day, we need to be a profitable company, right?
Right. So, what you guys saying you're not doing this for charity? Like, you guys aren't a 501(c)(3) or whatever they call. Well, here. Okay, so let me jump in with some questions here, because this is, we're going to start hitting some of the questions the community asks. Okay, so there's rumors and suspicions that people pass around that I'm not sure are true at all. So number one is the reason that Cubicasa offered free stuff in the first place was because their main income is selling this data to third-party stuff. So they don't even care about our revenue. They just want the data, kind of like Matterport does, so they can, sell all of that to, I don't know, the Pentagon, the Kremlin, I don't know, right? But that's what some people are thinking. Maybe there's a base on the dark side of the moon, but it could be legitimate. Do you guys sell our data? If so, how much? And here's the thing I want to talk about here. In the US, we're in the smack middle of finding out that a lot of tech corporations have gone under oath in Congress in the past and lied about how they're using our data. Okay? So we are highly suspect of corporations, especially tech companies. That's just because, once again, we've been burned as citizens in the country here.
Yeah.
What's up with our data? Are you sharing it? What's going on there? Or is that actually not important to you? And really, the most important thing is the revenue from selling the product.
I think there's this like general conception that the data business is somehow like super profitable and big and it's everywhere. And it comes from exactly what you mentioned, like Google and Meta, Facebook. Their primary source of revenue is your data.
Yeah.
So like, I think that's the story that everybody knows. And then you see other companies like tapping into data businesses and you think that they make most of their revenue from that data. I think the best example that we can look at here, Matterport is a publicly traded company. They are doing about 200 million annual revenue based on their reports. And if you think about their business, most of that revenue, it comes from global sources. And, it's not in the US only, it's massive in other countries as well.
Yeah.
And most of the revenue must come from the subscription business. Because if it was really profitable to do the data business, they wouldn't have any subscription model, but they would have a free product, right?
Yeah.
So most of their revenue from the 200 million must come from the subscription business. Let's assume that the data business is 5 million a year. So now it starts to look like quite a small business. So I think like it's a misconception that like these companies are getting massive revenues from the property data. I think it's like a one line item in the revenues, but like it's not true.
Okay. And what about Cubicasa? And you are under oath here. If you get bought by Elon Musk down the road, and then he does a Twitter release or whatever on all of your inner workings of Cubicasa, and we find out you lied to us, I guess shame on you. But do you guys sell our data, and how important is it to your revenue, your bottom line?
I think we cannot disclose all the details about the amounts of revenues and such that we do, but let's first define property data. So property data to us, it means the information you see in the floor plan. So today, public records are harvested and MLSs are like gathering data about properties, and that is being sold today in the property data marketplace. Our edge in that data is that we are more accurate. Like we don't only know the size of the home and then how many bedrooms and bathrooms there are, but we know that how those spaces are connected if the kitchen is on the second floor. So our like advantage in this regard is the accuracy of the data. Like we haven't cracked what is the property data and its value to us today.
Hey.
So like we know that there are these business cases, but we don't know like how we can utilize it because we are not that big. We don't have like enough data to really have those revenues that are meaningful.
So you can't disclose it, but it seems like what you can disclose, you're saying, is there seems to be a market there. It isn't nut you've cracked yet, and you are interested in it, but for right now, it's not really that big of a income for you guys right now. You can disclose that, and you will stand by that statement this 26th of February 2025.
Yeah. I think it's important context too to look at where and what the ecosystem of property data already exists. I mean, you guys as real estate photographers put in your photos into the MLS, right? And across the 527 MLSs there are in the United States, there are different rights agreements and processes where agents are saying, I'm going to put all this information in the MLS. The MLS owns or has rights or usage of all of that data, photos included in most circumstances, and how that then gets packaged and sent out to appraisers, to insurance companies, to data aggregators, is a very open and known from this side of the world kind of ecosystem. So if you think of when somebody buys a new house, how do I all of a sudden get all of those pieces of mail telling me that from Pottery Barn, or as benign from a moving company, or the ones that are super obnoxious, the 15 phone calls from mortgage brokers and things like that, right? That's not necessarily what we are interested in, obviously. I think the thing that real estate photographers have an edge, and also through using Cubicasa, is they can capture the most accurate information at the point of transaction or before the product goes live, so that as it flows into the MLS, it is more accurate than local tax data. It is more accurate than whatever insurance data is on file. And so in essence, it's helping the realtor have ground truth. And then, so how do we work within the real estate ecosystem to make that realtor MLS have the best data set possible to have a competitive advantage? And right now, as Api said, that's not an ecosystem where there's tons of money and cash. Maybe there will be in the future, but right now, our day-to-day focus is getting floor plans on every single listing so that listings can be enhanced from a consumer perspective. And then on the other side of the house, the MLS feels like they have the most accurate data set in the world to be competitive in hosting the best listings.
Okay, so that clears things up a lot into where it seems like your guys' interest, if you do sell your data, is helping platforms have better accurate information for the listings and the homes. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, to add to that, like I think from research that we have done, like we know that the more we know about the property, the more we can improve the predictive model. So it's not about one single property, but it's the data that we know en masse about the market as a whole, and then putting in the parameters from this house in question, and then predicting something like a valuation out from that.
And I will give you guys credit here because I have grilled executives of several different companies before. And lots of times what I get back is polished executive legalese, as they call it, which is a whole lot of nothing. They'll say, yes, so let's see if this sounds familiar to you guys from certain executives in various companies. Our objective is and always will be to make sure that the photographer's needs are always kept in mind. Yes, but that's not the question that I asked you. I was wondering what you do with our data. Jonathan, I want you to
said that.
Jonathan, I just want you to know that we always love photographers. They're really special to us. Yes, but can you answer the question? So you guys did a great job of being open and transparent and said, hey, we can't talk about everything. And then you talked about quite a lot. So I feel a lot more comfortable with what you guys have talked about. And I think I understand, what data you are interested in, why it's valuable, and also why, right now it's not that profitable. Do you feel like that market will ever be more profitable than the revenue you generate directly from us to begin with?
I personally don't think so. I think if you look at the companies that are data aggregators as their entire business, the number of sources and endpoints that they pull from are in the hundreds of thousands, if not more, to aggregate this one thesis of data that they're trying to put out. There's a company called Cherry out in New York, and they aggregate all of these points to help be, property data and information. And that's one business. But the amount of money that they have to pay or pull and do all these things just to develop that is kind of insane, and that's not where we're headed. Again, I think it's an additive thing to our industry where if we can enhance the offering that, I personally have a belief that as real estate photography evolves, real estate photographers are going to become data collectors and have a higher cost per visit of the home, because what they're going to be able to do and capture is going to be broader. That's already true from the standpoint of marketing. But think about what you could capture via drone for inspection, what you could capture via other technology for appraisal. And as long as real estate continues to move along this kind of slow, staggered pace towards efficiency, somebody's going to have to collect that data. And who better than a real estate photographer who is comfortable on site, knows how to interact with realtors, and knows how to put a homeowner at ease when they're taking pictures of their most important things in their lives. And so
it's definitely going to be the real estate agent, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Let's get them back to selling homes and keep the photographer doing what they do.
And if I could speak to all the photographers real quick, that is an opportunity for us if we make sure that we are on top of who owns our data rather than just giving it all away for free. We have a real value in multiple industries to make sure that we have leverage, because no one else is going to be out in the field like we are, okay? So if you have people out there saying, hey guys, just worry about the clients, get as many clients as you can, don't worry about your image rights or anything else, that's not good advice in the short term or the long term for you or for the industry. So really, as you're getting clients, just put in your terms, hey, I own the rights, all right? And that gets you a seat at the table for negotiations, okay? If you don't have that, you don't have a seat at the table. Anyway, moving on here, sorry for the sidetrack there. Let's talk about a feature that I think would actually really help, and Cubicasa here. And that is a piece, a key cornerstone that is missing. And I'm sure you guys are aware of this, but maybe you aren't. And I've made really good suggestions to other industries, other executives that were ignored. And I ended up opening up my own business in scheduling software with those features, and people are loving it. One of those things are, encrypted information for your client data. I'm not going to definitely go into business against Cubicasa because I don't got that kind of money, that's for sure. But the feature that I would really like, the missing key for me, especially my market, I have lots of real estate agents asking this. It's very important. Right now, we're taking square footage of the interiors of the home, which also affects the accuracy of our floor plans, and is different from the gross living area, which is something that most people who still do floor plans manually measure from the outside of the home. If we could measure the outside of the home and have that incorporated into our floor plans, you guys would be setting yourselves apart and probably break in and crack the nut to selling more accurate data, because that is very important to Americans, at least American data people who really want measurements done from the exterior of the home. Is that on the roadmap, or is it not possible?
There's a few things in this. Firstly, the GLA, we can produce the GLA value, and I understand that we use an estimation of the external wall, but we have done studies and it shows that it's as accurate as appraiser doing the measurement. So I think it's like I think there's a bias that when a human takes a measurement of a home, that it's going to be more accurate than machine making that measurement. But we have proven that actually they are on par. It's the same accuracy. The problem comes from the fact that there is no ground truth. The house is the ground truth. And when you take a measurement, there is going to be an error.
Yeah.
And we have proven with sample size of 300 homes that humans and the Cubicasa technology are the same level, like average error rate is the same. So that's like one thing that why we don't have such a huge urge to do it. The other one from the exterior is that the exterior conditions for the scans are much worse. So there's more lightning difference. So you have sunlight to the sensors, to the camera, or then it's super dark suddenly in the shadow. So that creates problems for the technology. And also maybe some areas are not accessible. So now how do you scan the outside of the second, the second level of the home, or there's some kind of a bedrock or something that it's a basement. So then we sort of need to resort back to the interior data again. So I think it still has this fallbacks that even maybe in the future it would be possible, and you still can scan outside, the porches, the patios, but right now it's not a super viable option for us. But of course, I won't say that we won't do it ever. But
all right, understood. I'm going to start diving into some of the questions here, because we're really running right into some of the people questions asked. So I'm just going to try to represent. I'm a photographer. I always will be a photographer. So I'm going to try to represent these questions as best I can. And also, these questions exist, by the way, because everybody contributed in the business side of real estate photography. So thank you guys for interacting with any questions I ask in there. If you guys aren't a member of the business side of real estate photography Facebook group, make sure you're joined. I've been trying to interact with the industry as much as possible, but I'm running into issues with admins deleting posts because they see it as self-promotional. I could sell a lot harder than I do on my products, folks. I'm not trying to be self-promotional, okay? There's people out there who do nothing but self-promotion. I'm really trying to get us answers and try to improve the industry by, have you guys had a podcast this good with Cubicasa, this transparent, with this much information? We've been wondering this question for years, right? I'm not doing it because I make a ton of money. They're not paying me to be here, okay? It's just because I want to know, and if they're a good product, I want to use them in my own business, because we use them all the time, right, Zach? Right. He's sitting over there editing the last podcast I did. All right. So Anyway, join the business side of real estate photography. Let's make sure we keep the industry strong. Here's some of your questions. One person would challenge you on your accuracy of the floor plans. And forgive me if I'm coming at you hard. That's how any vendor or anyone else who wants to come on the podcast, I will not go easy on you. Okay, so here it goes. The accuracy of the floor plans is one thing that stands in question. So one person remarked that they had done 3 floor plans of the exact same home. Essentially, it was in a neighborhood with new construction, and they are all built exactly the same. He did it with a laser and then compared it to Cubicasa, and the laser versus the Cubicasa floor plans were sitting at around 100 feet off pretty regularly. What say you to that, sir?
Well, the first question is like, what was the measuring standard? Like, we have rules that we follow to, come up with a number. And if they apply the GLA logic, which is quite complicated, then they are comparable numbers. But if there's a systematic error, then the 100 square feet doesn't tell you a lot. If the house was 2,500 square feet, then this 100 square foot difference doesn't sound that bad, because we've seen that the appraisers, which is the golden standard of measurement, they differ that around 4%. So, like, it is, to me, that sounds actually fairly acceptable. But of course, like the scanning technique, it will affect, the conditions will affect. If there's like a lot of lack of features inside the space, we can make less sense out of the space. So like there's a lot of variables that go into the accuracy. But I would need to know like the measurement standard first to make sure that they are comparable.
So, and I think what you're really dealing with here too is a standard where let's talk about self-driving cars here. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, a self-driving car was in an accident and killed somebody. Okay, well, human drivers kill people too. So which is more safe? Who is in an accident more often? So essentially, you don't have to reach a 100% accuracy. What you're trying to reach here is a level of accuracy that is better than the on-site manual steel tape or laser appraisers.
Yeah, and I think we are like going through that discussion in many different industries. Like, what is the level that we require from machines different from human accuracy to human decision making?
Okay, and follow-up question to this that's related. If we disagree with the measurements, so sometimes we'll have a real estate agent who calls and says, "Hey, Jonathan, you measured that room to be 5 foot by 9. It's 5 foot by 9.5. Can you change the dimensions?" Right now, to my knowledge, and one of the questions was, we can't change the dimensions. We can change the name of a room. We can do some things, but we can't change the dimensions. Is that going to be a feature that's added in the near future or not?
Well, you can submit a change request, and with enough proof, like, we will modify the structure of the home. But of course, to a reasonable extent. With the quick edit tool, you cannot change the position of the walls that would actually change the underlying data. But we have a feature on the roadmap that you could override the measurements with whatever you have like measured on site. So for the listing floor plan, for the room measurements, I think that could be a future solution. But that the idea we have currently is that we don't want to change the data we have on record from the scan, because we believe into that more than somebody submitting on us like data that we cannot like prove any way.
Okay. Now here in the U.S., and this is one of my follow-up points here. By the way, I know that we're going over time. Is everybody okay, or are you guys willing to put in a little bit extra time here? If you guys need to leave, feel free. But I think we're really getting to the meat and potatoes here, and we'll keep going. Regarding the dimensions, here in the U.S., I'm pretty sure nearly 100% of the time, the responsibility of the accuracy of the listing is up to the real estate agent. So as a photographer, if a real estate agent asks me to say, hey, listen, I know there's a hole in the drywall, it's getting fixed on Saturday, can you just Photoshop it? It's not my job to verify that the agent is actually hired a contractor and is actually going to have that. It's not my responsibility, right? So why do you guys take responsibility for not giving us the capability of changing the dimensions? Is it a reputational issue that you don't want your reputation potentially tarnished by a real estate agent who is a little bit crony? Anyway, what's your angle there?
Aaron, do you want to first answer the responsibility question? I think you are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, interestingly enough, in the real estate photography world, I remember there was a case where the photographer was actually named in the lawsuit where they photoshopped a water tower out of the back of a front exterior photo. And they were named unknowingly to this lawsuit because when the purchase, someone bought the home sight unseen and then was like, I don't want to live next to this thing. And I'm not sure where it all ended up, but what it did is it woke up real estate photographers to realize that in the transaction chain, they could be held liable legally for some of these things. And I think you're in North Carolina, right, Jonathan?
Right, correct. So
you're in one of, you have incredible laws around floor plans and restrictions and things like that. In which I've had experience where agents hold you accountable for the dollar per square foot difference to what you measured or what you submitted. And so I think as far as responsibility, our normal terms of service are typically like every other software where however you use it is up to you, but we can't be held liable from a company perspective if you abuse that software. To the point of changing it, I think that's where we believe in our technology enough that we're going to be pretty close to where it needs to be and into the ground truth. And if you want to adjust it by way that would be outside of our normal system, a change request, talking to our support teams, that would put us in question of being like, well, now we're just a floor plan drawing app. And that's not the intention of what we're trying to do here. Okay. And just to add a tag for our customer success and support team, if you message them that exact example, somebody who said, I have 3 different measurements from the same floor plan, or same house, 3 different scans. They will walk every kind of customer through what was different, how the scan was maybe issue, what we maybe did wrong on the back end, and come to a solution where it has a logical perspective of why that didn't work or why maybe they need to slow down or turn a light on or open a door or do something differently. And I would say our success rate of keeping customers happy with that explanation is incredibly high. So always hit that chat function and ask that question because we can provide great clarity for that.
Yeah. Right. The only issue there I see is that, American consumers, especially sellers, are very impatient. So it takes a process. But so as photographers, just, kind of speaking for this gentleman as much as I can see why he would love the ability to change it himself. So just bringing that forward to you guys directly. A few other things here. A lot of people are worried about your guys' current loyalty compared to, we talked a lot about data versus photographers. A lot of people want to know about realtors versus photographers. And this is going to probably be the final segment of the podcast where we discuss the fact that, you're wanting us to offer free floor plans on all of our shoots. And that sort of thing, which is really a cost to us, and we get nothing from that. But first, we'll start with who's more important to you. Choose one. You can't have both. Real estate agents or photographers.
Let's say
what's the
photographer.
Photographers.
All right. So can you? All right. So I'm just standing up for photographers here. I don't believe you. Why should I believe you?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, and I think from being on the other, having been on the other side of the house as a photographer, I watched other vendors and providers turn around and sell directly to my customers, and it was incredibly frustrating for that. I think the biggest thing that the photographers need to know, the reality is 85 or more % of our business comes from photographers, and if you think that we're going to pivot that back towards agents as our primary source of business and focus, like that is just fundamentally wrong. And if you look at our product roadmap of what we've created and where we are headed, we are totally focused on enhancing the photographer's ability to make more money per shoot through 1 5-minute scan, alongside of our goal to get a floor plan on every single listing. On the flip side of that, to be completely transparent, photographers don't capture 100% of listings. As much as I wish that were the case, it's not the case. And it may never be the case. And so if we believe a floor plan should be on every single listing, then we still need agents to capture floor plans at some capacity.
Okay.
So I think that's the truth of how we look at the business.
So your business statement of you guys saying, I want every listing to have a floor plan by Cubicasa, that is a big statement that you guys take very seriously.
Yes.
So
that's our North Star.
Right. So, and just the case is you can't now. What I'm seeing in our industry, because we can be a little bit paranoid, a little bit crazy at points, even speaking for myself, that makes us suspicious that, you're going to turn around and stab us in the back. It has happened to us before, okay? We've had very popular software companies sell out, okay? It's happened without saying anybody. We're afraid of it happening again. And once again, real estate agents do it to us all the time, where, hey, is it okay if we take an extra day to deliver it? Sure, no problem. And then they never use us again, right? So we're lied to all the time, right? That's why we're paranoid. Most people would never be as transparent to say that we're 85% of your revenue. Is that really true? Like, you're not just saying that because it'll win us over and make us more comfortable.
Yeah, I can't say the exact number of dollars and cents, but like, to put it in perspective, we have sales teams, we have all sort of support, and most of the day of what they focus on is real estate photographers. We do focus on our MLS partnerships as well, but you have to understand MLS partnerships are a pathway of which we get the MLS to believe and trust and value the information that's coming through. But as part of every rollout to the MLS, we put front and center, if you want a floor plan capture, use one of our preferred photographers. These are people who know how to use the service. They're going to give you great service. They're going to offer many other things other than just floor plans, and they're going to make your listings and data look even better. And so, I think that's a key part of it is our days are in existence of focusing on enhancing photographers' experiences through our products.
Okay, and now we're arriving in perfect transition there to our last two questions here. The free floor plans that you guys are currently asking us to do with the Preferred Partner Program. There's been a lot of feedback on this, and a lot of people are pointing out the fact, and I've thought about it. Okay, so full transparency, I use you guys. I'm not preferred partner. I looked at that and I was like, why would I do it? No, thank you. And I kept going. And a lot of the feedback seems to be consistent with that, because they look at, okay, if I make $100,000 a year, because it's easy math, and 5 to 10% of that is revenue from Cubicasa, from floor plans, why would I cut out 5 to 10% of my revenue in order to help Cubicasa get their product out there? Now, I've already learned part of this. You guys' goal is to get every home a floor plan. So you're trying to incentivize us. The problem is, from our perspective, that's really bad incentive, because even if we try to do a little bait and switch by saying, okay, we're offering free floor plans, but now we're upping our regular photography prices to kind of ingest the loss of business, that means we lose people who don't want to use us, because at the end of the day, not everybody gets floor plans. So if they do not want us to do the floor plans and we insist on offering a free floor plan, we either lose the client or we have to do it for free and eat the loss.
Go ahead, Tammy.
Just one thing?
Yes, we haven't heard from you much at all, Tammy, so I apologize.
I know. I'm really glad that this question came up, just because one thing that's really important to understand is that while we do have a free version of the floor plan, we don't require that you do anything for free. We don't want you to be working for free. What we ask is that the floor plan is always included in your very basic service. Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is just right, that yes, you would go from having an a la carte photo package to now your basic offering would be photos with the floor plan. If you prefer to use our free version, that is great. If your client declines it, if the homeowner declines it, if you are already providing a floor plan as a part of another service, we don't require that you scan. We're just trying to, even with our partnerships with the MLSs, and I think you and I have talked about this before, how a lot of photographers are somewhat sales averse. We're helping to familiarize and make sure that all of the MLS subscribers, all the realtors understand the value of a floor plan and suggesting that they would always want to get one. And if you work with one of the Cubicasa photographers who's a preferred photographer, you're just going to get that as it's just understood that you need a floor plan. It's always included.
But how is the photographer going to be compensated with that model?
Back to your point. So you can use the free version. You do want to make sure that you include something to cover your time on site to scan and that admin the next day to include it in your package. So yes, there is some cost in there. On the other side, you have a free product that you can sell. So that would be basic bundle. Next bundle, most popular, includes perhaps our plus version of the floor plan, where you can include all of the bells and whistles, fixed furniture with the Cubicasa tour, and it becomes part of your kind of core offering.
Right. It's just that even if it doesn't cost us anything to make it, and in some cases it does, because when we're doing it for free and it is a large floor plan, then we will get the large charge. So not only are we doing it for free, we actually have to pay you guys to actually produce it.
Large property charges. Yes.
Even if we're offering it for free or just having that, there's still a lost revenue.
So I think one of the things that our team has done a really good job doing is working with individual photographers on packaging and understanding, okay, when you go to market, in the beginning of all real estate photography, it was one front photo that they sent to the MLS to put in the book, right? Back in the day, it was a book, right? So that was it. And then all of a sudden we had digital photography. And all of a sudden we had internet listing sites. And all of a sudden we had Zillow. And all of a sudden now we live in the existence now where if you go into different markets, the entry-level package is typically not just photos, right? A lot of companies have moved forward with package-based pricing and moved away from a la carte. And I know there's kind of conversation, the coaching world and the industry, of what's the best fit and what's not. But our idea is if you want to offer floor plans at every single listing, and as you come onto this program, that is a wholesale readjustment of what your prices are, knowing what you're doing. So again, it's not a conversation of offer these for free on every single one. It's just say, my offering always includes this, and my cost is this. Now, 2 days ago, I was not a preferred photographer, and my base level photo package for 15 photos was $175. Now, 2 days after, I am, and I always include a floor plan on it, and I'm using the free floor plan or paid, whatever. And now my base level cost is $200. And the conversation we always have is, why don't you go test the market a little bit, see what sort of reaction you get from your customers. And from being on the other side of the table, I know a small price adjustment with extra added value is usually going to be received pretty well with a very low kind of churn environment. And so we've seen this across thousands of photographers across the US, varying from one shoot a week all the way up to, hundreds of shoots a week from size.
Okay. I can only speak from my anecdotal experience here. And so, once again, speaking for photographers here, the issue when it comes down to whether they sign on the line, which is dotted or not, whether they close business with us or not, there's a lot of people who are price sensitive and just don't want floor plans from the photographer. So if we offer it in all of our packages and don't give them the option, we will lose some clients for that, especially if to raise our price. So that is something I think that is going to require a little bit more time and a little bit more discussion from Cubicasa to the industry to see how we can better incentivize it. The big thing that we have learned here, and I didn't know this myself, is you guys are very serious about you want every home to have a floor plan. Yeah. Now, we can go forward and think about how we can incentivize real estate photographers to help you get there. If your loyalty is with us, heck, we have no problem making more money with getting more floor plans on our stuff. A way we can do that, and this is something, for example, that I know you guys probably wouldn't want to do, you could compensate us for the floor plan. If the real estate agent isn't paying us, you guys could. That, I can understand, is not possible for a non-charity, a profit-driven thing. So, but we're business owners. We understand incentives. An alternative thing, just going off the top of my head, perhaps a bonus incentive where, you know what, if you guys do 10 floor plans, you guys get this. If you guys do 25 floor plans this month, you get this. And that encourages us to sell the floor plans as best as we possibly can, because I have ideals that I try to reach. Realistically, perhaps doing everything you can to try to get to 100% of all listings having a floor plan, trying to get all the way there may not be realistic. So I don't know. I don't want to upset you guys if you guys feel strongly about your mission. But it seems like the incentive might end up hurting you because it seems like people are having a problem with that incentive structure.
And I think one of the quick things is we don't just ask this for nothing in return. You get our highest discount that you can get in return for doing this. You get 12-hour turnaround time in return for doing this. You get placement on our widgets in front of all of our MLS partners, which has resulted in new clients, one business, and new relationships formed because Cubicasa has made that connection. Mm-hmm. And I think the only thing I can say without Api reaching through the screen and slapping me about talking about our roadmap here is just stay tuned towards the end of the month and as we go into the spring, because what is coming will be an additional layer of benefits for our preferred photographers that choose to do so, and other products that will make it incredibly clear where our allegiances lie so that we can help the photographer make more money every single shoot. I mean, think about revenue per listing. That's what we think about every single day from the perspective of what can we build to help make that happen. And I know that's coming from the sales guy, so take it with a grain of salt as always, but we really do care about this industry, and without photographers, we don't have a company. So,
all right.
And
well,
I want to underline, like Aaron said before, like our focus right now inside the Cubicasa application in the web portal is 100% on the photographer features. We believe that there is more to do, a lot more to do. And the other focus that we have on the other side of our business is how we can make those floor plans more visible in the portals, and also let the buyer and the seller demand the floor plan, because that drives the agent, which drives the photographer, right? Okay. But it's a long way to 100%, right? So, like, I wish the world was ready and everything was in place. But we are heavily focused on improving the photographer feature set, and at the same time trying to make the floor plans more important in the industry so that we get more demand.
Okay, well, very good.
Cubicasa and photographers.
And the last question I had here was, and this is one of the questions, the last question that we have from the community. Why do you change the pricing structure so much? And really, I guess the answer is very apparent. You guys are are really trying to figure out how you can accomplish your goal. And you try one thing, you see how that works out, and you tweak it. It's not because you guys are necessarily trying to take advantage of us. You're trying to figure out how you can dominate the industry, is what you guys are trying to do. And I mean that, by the way. Some people feel like ambition is a bad thing. Ambition is not a bad thing, folks. We need to stop giving that thing that word a bad connotation. Good for you guys for going out there and trying to excel. That is very American of you. And I know for a fact, most people in Northern Europe are not capitalist Americans. So I'm sure you guys keep it a secret around the dinner table. But I appreciate that. All right, well, guys, this has been an incredible podcast, and I did not anticipate you guys to be this transparent. Forgive me. I tried to warn you guys as best I can that I'm not an easy interviewer. And you guys said, bet we're going to do it. And not only did one of you show up, 3 of you did. So congratulations on having the guts to show up. Obviously, you guys do not feel guilty for anything that you guys are doing. You have a good product. You've put in the work. And I think it's apparent today. So hopefully, guys, if you guys have enjoyed this, give it a like, comment down below with more questions. I think we could do another version of this in 6 to 12 months if you guys have more questions, especially as things continue to proceed for Cubicasa. And also, if you guys want to interact with more vendors and get your questions answered, go ahead and join the business side of Real Estate Photography Facebook group, because I'm going to try to, I've been the admin of that group for a while, just keeping it on the back burner in case we needed it, because I didn't want my connection with the community be at mercy of random Facebook moderators, right? So I'm going to be proactively growing that group and putting a community where you guys can come in and interact with vendors and get your questions answered. And I will, try to weed out the people who are just trying to spam us and take advantage of us, and the people who are actually trying to do good and work with us. And I think Cubicasa will fit well there. So anything you guys want to say before we close up here?
I think I want to just say to all photographers and our users, please send us feedback. That's the only way we can make the product better. I read every single feedback we get every week, and I also share most of that feedback. Of course, I cannot share everything, but most of that feedback that is really meaningful, I share it openly with everyone in our company. So I guarantee you that we listen. You just need to open your mouth and send it through the customer chat.
And I encourage you photographers to do it as well. And the reason why is something I've realized: if we don't help the good people, someone else will step in. These people seem to be doing good, hard work. All right. I have a pretty fine-tuned gut that gives me good feelings and bad feelings. I have good feelings about these guys personally. You're welcome to make your own decisions. But the reason why I have a good gut is because I've been in this industry for over a decade, and I've done short-term rentals. Okay. I have to learn a good person from a bad person pretty quick. Yeah. Otherwise, it's 400 people at my short-term rental throwing down.
You're talking about one of the Diddy parties, I think you referenced earlier.
No, I've had people. Anyway, all right, we won't go down there. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for being so transparent. Thank you for being willing to be grilled thoroughly to a toast. I wish more people would be like this. The world would be a better place, and definitely this industry is going to be a better place because of conversations like this. I'm going to sleep better tonight, deeply. So thank you. Wish you guys the best. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to Real Estate Photography Unlocked.